Another retro gaming video. No time travel or alt realities this time. We did this the old-fashioned way. Sometimes students ask, how did you get into retro computing to begin with? The answer is just to do normal computing, then wait 20 years. All 5 of my fans know I started out on the Apple II, but like most people of my vintage, I went through a DOS phase in the 90s before moving permanently to Linux in 1996. In this episode, we'll see games I coded starting around when my family sold the old IIe off and got a 386 in 1991. I did most of my coding of these DOS games while in middle and high school. This video is recorded with DOSBox, as sadly my vintage DOS systems have seen better days, and I haven't got around to fixing them up yet. So we begin a Starfight. This is, like many of my games, a Space Wars clone. It's written on GW Basic and in CGA. And I wrote a lot of things in CGA as a limitation of the books I had at the time. It was a revelation when I found out about Mode 9 and Mode 13 in Basic. And the goal is to try to knock the player into something that's white. You can see these bombs or something you can try to set up a trap for. So collision works. There is a bug where you can clip into the flag. I was trying to do this here. I couldn't manage to do it. You also see that tunnel down there. If you're very careful and go in the tunnel, it'll pop you out the top of the screen. This next game has a guinea pig theme. We had some guinea pigs, so they show up in a lot of our games. This is going to be a platformer. So you have this nice guinea pig riding a skateboard. You can see I didn't do any page flipping, so it flickers horribly. This is still in QBasic, but I've moved to QBasic by this point. Now we're starting to get more interesting. EGA graphics. This is with Turbo Pascal, and this is a game called Underwater Trouble. Let's see if we can get the instructions. File not found. I actually searched everywhere for that file and couldn't find it. Play the game. Again, it's a 2-player game. Part of the trouble of Player 2 is it uses a numeric keypad, and I'm testing this on a MacBook without a numeric keypad, so it's hard to move around. And sadly, I never completely finished this, but it is playable if you could find someone else who wants to play with you. And this is my favorite part, which actually never made it to the game. In the background, there were supposed to be these fish swimming around all the time. I love watching the fish swim around. So this program has the most annoying intro ever. Imagine sitting through this every single time you wanted to use the program. So this was back before the internet, and it was not easy to look up file formats, and so I had no idea how to load, say, a GIF file into your program. So I did what I would do. I wrote my own paint program and its own file format from scratch, and designed and used it and made my own paint program. It was originally called Paint Program originally, but DOS was 8.3 limit, truncate the Paint Pro, and that's how it got the name Paint Pro. And you'd be surprised, but a lot of my friends use this program a lot. Next game, Adventures in Time and Space. This is actually based on a radio drama my friends and I did as a class project in 8th grade. And so we complete the story. The story is the fun part. See this opening screen here? The graphics, hard to believe, made this in Paint Pro. It put the screen into 6 chunks and each part individually. So anyway, here's the story, and I clicking here to speed through it a bit because it's not really that important. Sort of story an 8th grader would come up with, especially after I think the other authors were influenced heavily by the Spaceballs movie. Half the fun here is making the stories rather than actually getting around to the gameplay. All these character references were people we knew in middle school. Actually, I still have the tape of the radio drum around somewhere. Squeaky voices and all. should transfer it to MP3 before I stop making tape decks. So as for the gameplay, it wasn't finished, so all you can do is move the ship. Can't even go at an angle. Spinning out of control. Yeah, that's about it. Never finished this one. Oh, the draw. I don't live that address, and that BBS is no longer up, so don't harass those people. And you see my VMW logo. The colors have not always been consistent. This next one, Space War 3, you can see the note there. I plan to finish it maybe by October 1994. Oops. So yeah, another Space War clone. This one with a little bit better graphics than the last one. And this time the help actually works. It's a nice looking help there. I don't know where the missing part of the logo is in that case. So let's play, and you can move the ships and you can actually steer. Still got the annoying flicker there. Try shooting a laser, shooting a missile. You can see the collision detection doesn't work. So yeah, you know, two people can play this, but you can't actually hurt each other, so not much fun in that. So about this time, I was an exchange student in Germany, to Hildesheim, Germany, and showed off some of my programs, and they were, you know, mildly impressed. And they pointed me to this document, the PC Game Programs Encyclopedia, PCGPE, and it told me how to do things with Turbo Pascal, inline assembly, Mode 13H, and graphics, so it was a big revelation. And then Sound Blaster Sound. This guy, Ethan Brodsky, who was also a high schooler in Wisconsin, he posted this Sound Blaster code so I could add Sound Blaster code to my games. And I also figured out how to, I still use the Paint Pro format, but I wrote a TSR that let me do screen captures. And so, you know, make graphics of a real program like Deluxe Paint here, do the graphics, capture them, and transfer them to my program. So the graphics get a lot better. I didn't have to do little tiny windows and all that. So this is what everyone actually wants to see, my only game that actually accomplished much of anything, Tom Bombem. And so yes, the name was probably a play on Duke Nukem at the time. And I actually sent this game to ID 3D Realms, and they sent a nice letter back sort of rejecting it, but saying the game is well constructed, but, you know, they're moved on to 3D games by now. So that was nice of them.
Mr. Bombem.
Oh yeah, and there's my excuse for not having a full voiceover soundtrack. Friends of mine in high school were amused by this. They used to go around saying, Mr. Bombem, over and over again. So this game actually needs at least a 386. You use 32-bit assembly. You know, it's 4 times faster than 8086 plain assembly. So, and it ran decent speed on my family's computer. You notice it doesn't have the nice mod player soundtrack. The Linux version actually has some, you know, music playing here at the intro and all that. So this is an alien I used to doodle all over my notebooks in middle school, and I thought I'd made it up, but very obviously it was just like the alien from Commander Keen, the first episode, so obviously I wasn't as original as I thought. All these dates in the far, far future. I guess the ones in the past now. This one, I guess, still got 10 years until this one doesn't come to happen. So let's do a playthrough and see how it goes. It's been a while since I'd played this. Oh no, Tom, you're going the wrong direction. High school humor here. So it looks a little jerky here. You know, it should be fast enough. The timing is based on the V-blank signal, so it should run the same on any VGA monitor. So I'm not sure why it seems a little slow here. And the sound effects, you can tell that's just me going and all that into a microphone back in the day. All the artwork, drew all the artwork, made my own font. Eventually you get pretty good at the game yourself just because you're always constantly playing it to test it out. But I think my brother might have found that in some versions, if you just sit in the middle and hold down the spacebar, you can make it the whole way to the end. I forget if this version has that particular bug or not. So then inanimate objects, they come in waves.
Yep.
The waves are the same, but there's some randomness into the patterns, though you can, if you play it enough, you can recognize the patterns and get things. And the trash, yeah, I don't know about the trash we sent. Apple cores make sense. Globes, pencils, books, clocks. Plants, I guess a very Douglas Adams-esque plant coming towards you. Forget how long it takes to get to the boss here. Doing okay in shields though. You notice that every so often the shields will go up. Maybe after this wave of ice creams? No, there's still some more. Impressed if anyone's sitting and watching through all this. There we go. Human, what are you doing? Let's do the boss battle here. Actually took a while to code up this boss, if I recall. It's a much cooler boss in the Apple II version of this game. It has some lasers and stuff too. Well, let's not get too injured here. I'm actually beating this too fast. I'm not think I'm gonna get the high score. One more left. There we go. Not so fast. Peace envoy. Level 2. The smaller missiles. A lot harder here, trying not to get too close to these obstructions, especially because the hitbox isn't as close in as you might hope. Watch out, those red arrows are reversers. If you're not careful, you get hit by your own bullet. Watch out. If you're not careful, you might just hold the button down. You really get hammered here by the reversers.
Yep.
Really like the Twin color palette here. I guess when I'm doing my Apple II programming, I'm stuck with the fewer colors. One benefit here is that only so many enemy missiles can be on the screen at once, so eventually you're a little bit saved by that fact. It's a little tight in here. I actually have a level editor I wrote. This engine is, sort of generic, and so level 4 of the game, if it had ever been completed, would use the same engine. And so I had a nice level editor for making new levels. We made it to the end. Do you want to deactivate? If you say no, it'll actually explode you, and that's the end, which is sort of a cheap plot device here. Oh no, getting zapped in. Drawing those line segments is a lot harder than you might think. beam, turn off the tractor beam. I wonder where I got that plaid device from. I always like this effect with the stars. And level 3, I never quite finished level 3. Yes, I didn't have a gun, and there I'm shooting the gun. This would be a typical walk around, collect the key cards type level from your 1990s games. And the computer will talk to you, it gives you some advice. And we can very slowly walk over, get the S key card. I forget what the S stands for. Tom's sort of waddling as he walks here. Nope. Going back. Navigate the corners carefully. So this purple glowy floor thing, I thought it would injure you, but apparently not. Look out, watch where you're going. Computer's tired of our nonsense.
Ah!
Well, that's the end of that. Oh, I did get a high score. Oh yeah, there's my brother on there a few times. So yeah, this game, I actually uploaded it to a few local BBSs. You can see here, it's the newest version, so I actually replaced the BBS with my first web page. I actually uploaded it to the internet. I feel like a few the CD collections back in the day that used to say we got 10,000 DOS games on our CD. I feel like I made a few collections, and I actually got permission if it could be on it, and I actually said yes to a few to send me a copy, but no one ever sent me a copy. If anyone ever finds it on a CD, an actual published CD, I'd love to have it just to prove that people used it. So it's the only game I have that people occasionally will say they played it, especially the Linux version, but in real life, no one really ever played it back in the day except my friends and family and all that. Anyway, a bonus feature here, my one friend, who is much better at graphics than I am, Jeff Warwick, he made some games, and I'm just showing them off to show that, show someone who's really good at drawing Mode 13H graphics what they can do, because I was always impressed. His game's a little bit gorier than mine. This one's got a whole long story, but I can never, under DOSBox, I can't get the keyboard to work for some reason. He made a space game too. All this in BASIC, it's sort of impressive. Looks a lot cooler graphics-wise than my games. And long-running explosion, and that's the end. And if you're interested in playing these, you can find a zip file at the website there and download them and play them and have fun. And hope you enjoyed watching this.